There's one other thing that you should know about me. Michelle McCullough is a sedentary lass. Okay, my idea of an Olympic sport is from the couch to the kitchen. And I believe those people who have said the words, nothing tastes as good as thin feels, haven't eaten the things I've eaten. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But I also know that I have a regular routine and a regular exercise regime that I am totally happy to maintain at some level to try to help me out. But every now and again, I get peer pressured in a very loving way by a friend who says, hey, you should try this. Why don't you try spin? Or why don't you try walking with me? Or why don't you try going on a hike? Or why don't you try doing something else? And then these friends said, why don't you start running? Okay, are there any runners in the room? I mean, it's okay, you can be proud. There's like a couple, okay? I am an aspiring runner, okay? I someday want to run, but one day it's not even working, okay? I shouldn't hold it if it's not even gonna work. And I need both of my hands to talk. It just is the way it happens. So one year, under the influence of some serious peer pressure, my friends started getting me into running, and they assured me that I would get addicted. They assured me that it would be the best thing I've ever done in my whole life. And I ran a couple of 5Ks, and that was all right. And I ran a 10K, and it still wasn't like grabbing me. I didn't love it. And they're like, Michelle, you really should just run a half marathon. And then as you cross that finish line, you're gonna feel like an amazing human. It's a lie. That said, I went on Facebook and I told all 1,242 of my Facebook friends that I was going to run a half marathon so that I wouldn't quit. Okay, and I started this training. Okay, it's not just the 13.1 miles they want you to run that day, okay? I'm running like 40 miles a week, and it is crazy sauce, okay? And I am gearing up, and I'm getting so excited, and I'm getting towards the big day, and I'm hitting miles I've never hit before. I'm running 6 miles and 7 miles, and then I set out to go do my 8-mile run. And I did it down beautiful Provo Canyon. I don't know if you've ever been there. You should go. It's wonderful. On a Friday night, all by myself, okay, which you should never do. Okay, naughty, naughty, naughty girl. She's gonna turn me on. It's an old joke. Is it not working? So, I head out by myself. I can still talk while she's back there. It doesn't even distract me. So I head out by myself, but I was totally prepared. I don't think so. But you guys are so great for trying. So I head out for this 8-mile run. I've got my spy belt, so I've got my keys, I've got my runner's mace just in case, and I'm thinking this is gonna be fine. My husband drops me off at the top and leaves a car at the bottom, so I have no choice but to get to my vehicle. And so I am running along and I start to cry. I cry a lot. I'll try not to cry today while we're talking, but I'm so proud of myself. My body's doing this amazing thing. And I go on and there's tons of people. There's longboarders, there's skateboarders. We're all just enjoying this beautiful scenery. And we get towards the end of Provo Canyon. I've passed Bridal Veil Falls. I've passed the last 2 campgrounds. And then all of a sudden I don't see anybody. Okay, and the sun is setting because it's a Friday night. And I start to get just a tad bit nervous. And I can't run any faster because I'm tired, okay? So I think to myself, what would any good person in this instant do? They would be prepared. So I turn the lock off on my can of mace so that if at any moment I just have to tap that button and I am ready to go. About 32 seconds after I make that very prepared decision, I trip on my own feet in some uneven ground and my thumb touches that can of mace and a little spray comes out. Okay, it wasn't a lot, it was a little. Okay, and I don't know if it was just the aerosol in the air or if it ricocheted off of my finger as I was running, but there was mace in my face. And at mile 7.2 and 7.3, I'm thinking, does this thing really even work? By 7.3, I'm like, oh, that's stinging. By 7.4, my face is aflame. And my eyes are starting to water, and I can hardly see. And I still have to get another 0.6 miles to get to my car. And I'm trying to watch the lines on the road, and I'm trying to get to the lights that are happening up there. And I get to my car, and at this point, I cannot see a thing. Okay? So I do what any good wife would do. I call my husband. Call Aaron. It goes to voicemail. Okay, who doesn't have their phone right on them when their wife is running all by herself down Provo Canyon? Okay, I call my mother, the next greatest resourceful person. She's out and about, doesn't have internet on her phone. Come on, ladies. We got to get internet on our phones at the drop of a hat. I'm like, Google Mace remedies, and I cannot even see the answers that it's giving me, so I stumble to Wills Canyon stop. I go to the bathroom, and just as I'm about to flush my face with water and soap, I'm thinking to myself, what if that's the one thing you are not supposed to do? What if I need some kind of milk paste or something? I don't have any money to buy milk from them, but I was like, fine, I'm just gonna go with the free thing, and I'm just flushing my face with water. It takes about 25 minutes to actually be able to open my eye. And my first thought is, runner's mace comes with me everywhere, because I know that puppy works from firsthand experience. Okay, second thought is, this is a sign. Michelle, you should never, ever run again. Okay? If anything in the world is going to tell you you should not be a runner, that is it. But I'd already promised my friends, and they promised me that once I hit 13.1, I'd be singing their praises. And so I still ran that race that day. And what's amazing is that our bodies can do fantastical things. This body can do fantastical things if I practice. And that day, as I ran across the finish line, I finished my half marathon in 2 hours and 4 minutes and kicked myself that I didn't just go a little bit faster. But I was proud of myself, and I trained this body to do something absolutely amazing. And this principle of practice exists above and beyond our physical lives. Our brains can be taught to practice. Our minds can do amazing things if we teach them. And so today, as you're here to focus and inspire, I want to share with you about this principle of practice and how you can take it and apply it in every aspect in your life, in the things that you do at work, in your relationships at home, in the ways that you communicate, because you can train your body to run a marathon. Even if you don't like it, your mind can go farther and faster than you've ever thought possible with a little bit of training. People always say to me, Michelle, some people can do success and other people can't. That is a lie. And if you buy into that, then you're missing the greatest control that you have over your life and your future, because you can train yourself to do amazing long distance things. It just takes a little bit of practice. I think it's interesting that doctors with years of experience still call their businesses a practice. A little scary if you think about it sometimes. But concert pianists, also with years of experience, will still practice for hours before a big performance. Those people are practicing running. They have smiles. I assure you, I do not have a smile when I am practicing that thing. But some people do, and they love it, and it's great. But practice happens personally, professionally for each of us. And the second that we give it up, the second we lose our ability to apply it to other principles, because I truly believe that success is not a destination, it's a practice. The people who are the most successful are successful in many aspects of their life because they apply the same principles of peak performance and determination to everything that they do. And so as we talk today about the things that you want, some of the things that you goals and dreams that are burning inside of you that you've always wanted to have happen, professional goals that you're aspiring for, personal things that you want to have happen in your life, all of those things matter because you want them, but you have to be willing to do the practice to make it happen. So today, I want you to think about this important question. Are you practicing at staying the same, or are you practicing at progress? Because the truth is, it takes the exact same minutes in the day to go for your dreams or not. It takes the exact same minutes in the day to stay the same or to hit those levels that are burning inside of you. Whatever that goal is, whatever that dream, you have the ability to be in control and to make it happen. So I want to tell you a story about how Make It Happen came to be. Obviously, it's the title of my book, but it started with this woman, Elaine Millett, who was one of my youth group leaders, planted into my life at one of the most important times. My parents were divorced. My mom was a rock star single mom, but she had a support network that showed up at important times. And Elaine had 9 children of her own, but always seemed to find me, whether it was at church or on the street or running around with the kids, and said, Michelle, what's going on? What's happening in your life? She listened to all of my get-rich-quick schemes. She listened to my ideas and goals about being in plays and on debate teams. And every single time I showed even the tiniest amount of a doubt, she would say, Michelle, make it happen. Michelle, make it happen, over and over again. And these words became something that was so important to me from the inside and the out, that they became more than just a life mantra. They became, oh, I'm gonna try it though. If you only hear half of it, you'll know why. I'll try to switch to this one. So make it happen matters, but it became something that I put on the wall. It became something that was ingrained inside of me, and it became something that every single year since that point, I hear Elaine Millett in my ears saying, Michelle, make it happen. And I still need those words today just as much as I did when I was 14 years old. And I thought of her when I was scared and I started my first business when I was 19. I thought of her when I just had a brand new baby and I was invited to be a partner in Startup Princess. I thought, I don't have any idea how I can do this. And I thought, Michelle, you can do it, make it happen. That resolve and determination mattered when I was making my own products and creating my own coaching programs and building out events to help my clients with things in their marketing, all because she said those 3 little words to me. Now, I know that I don't own the corner on make it happen. Lots of people say it. But what mattered to me was not just the words, but how I put those words into place and how I made make it happen work for me. And as a marketing strategist, you know, I had clients, I was doing business consulting, and I was running 3 businesses, and people would say to me all the time, Michelle, I have no idea how you do it. For me, it became second nature for the success principles that were happening in my life. But I detoured from the marketing for a bit to write the book, The Make It Happen Blueprint, so I could share with people the success principles that really work for me to help me get more done in less time without burning out. Because in the beginning, I would go, and then I would crash, and I'd be out for like 6 weeks. And then I had to figure out how to balance that and make that even better. So I put those 18 principles into the book that they generously gifted you in your bags, and I'd be happy to personalize that for you later. But today we're going to talk about 3. We're going to talk about the 3 that I consider to be the most important, the 3 decisions that will help determine your future success and happiness in every aspect of your life. We're going to talk a little bit about purpose, persuasion, and then my favorite, the plastic bag principle. So we're going to start by casting our minds back to 2003. Michelle is about, you can just guess how old she is, because if you do math, you'll know exactly how old I am now. I am in college, and my dad calls me and says, Michelle, do you want to go with me to Disneyland? Now, I'm an adult at this point, but Disneyland is still the happiest place on earth to me. And so I was thrilled. He wanted me to come with him and his bonus family, my bonus family. And so we were going with a 6-year-old and 4 4-year-olds. 3 4-year-olds, 4 kids, 3 triplets. Okay, I got to do my math. So 4 kids. And then I figured out that he invited me because he wanted babysitting help. I mean, naturally. But I'm happy to go, happy to have this experience. And we decide we're going to road trip in a minivan. And what I quickly realized is that while Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, road tripping with 4 young children is not. Okay, there were some dark moments. And it was kind of fun being the cruise director for like the first 30 minutes, and then after that I was just tired. But we had a great time, and it was really valuable. My dad at the time lived in China. His wife still lived here while they were working out some details, and so it was great to spend time with him, with them, and it was fantastic. At one point, there was some milk that got thrown from a sippy cup that we didn't find until 7 hours later that landed on top of my Tommy Hilfiger bag. Okay, now it's no Louis Vuitton, but it is the nicest thing that I had had at that point, and it was ruined. It's a good thing I love family more than I love things. But as we get to this destination, we're actually having a really great time, and it was totally worth it. People matter so much more, and those memories were so valuable. And seeing Disneyland through kids' eyes is magical. At one point, the details of this are a little bit fuzzy. My stepmom decides that she's going to take all 4 children, and my dad and I are going to go somewhere else. I'm not sure why we let her do that, okay? I realize that as adults, we should have said this is not a good plan, but we let her go off with her 4 kids because she's a rock star, and we had to decide when we were going to meet back up. Now, my stepmother has some amazing qualities, Being on time is not one of them. So we spent a lot of time finding a spot. We thought the castle, you can see it from anywhere. We decided we were going to meet in this little bench right here. And we looked at the bench, we looked at the castle, we looked at our watches. We said, we're going to be there at 3 p.m., 3 p.m., 3 p.m., over and over again. We didn't have cell phones because my dad was overseas, so we couldn't coordinate that way. So the placing and the time, old school, was real important. So my dad and I went off, and we come back, and of course, no stepmom. And I start to throw a 21-year-old fit. Spoiler alert. And I sit down on that bench and I fold my arms and I'm like, she is always late. She never cares about us. She never cares about her time. She's always on her own time schedule. And I'm just going on and on and on about how I knew this would happen and it's totally ruining everything. And he sits down next to me on the bench and he puts his arm around me and he says, I like sitting in front of the castle with my dad. And he kind of shook me, which was the cue that I was just supposed to repeat those words. I was like, I like sitting in front of the castle with my dad. And then he asked me a question that he had asked me a million times before. He said, Michelle, what's the meaning of life? Now, my dad was known for this question. He would ask it to every niece and nephew at every family reunion. He would ask it every time he saw me. He would ask it to strangers in the grocery store behind us. It was very awkward. He would turn around and he would say, nice grapes, what's the meaning of life? And I would want to run away really far because it sounded like a terrible pickup line. Sometimes it was. So I just had to endure that over and over again. And when I was little, I would say things like babysitting, because that was really awesome back then to me. And as I grew up, I started to know and understand a little bit more about what that meant. He never made fun of me, just whatever I said. He always just said wonderful and would ask me why I liked that. And so at that moment, I'm sitting there still throwing a little bit of a fit and I say, to be happy. And so my dad and I had a little conversation and my stepmother showed up about 45 minutes later. The interesting part about that story is that after this trip, my dad went back to China and he passed away. And so that was the very last time he would ever ask me that question. And I ruined it with my attitude. And so I want you to think about if my dad were here, maybe not awkwardly, but if he were to come up to you and ask you that question, what would you say? What's the meaning of life to you? My hypothesis is that purpose matters. Knowing what you want and what matters to you in your core is what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. It's what's going to drive you. There's a study done by the United Nations called the World Happiness Report, where they went and surveyed individuals in every single country in the world. They asked them all the same set of questions. Their hypothesis would be that those like us who live in first world countries with many technological advances would be happier than those who lived in third world countries. And when they went out to ask all the questions, they came back and synthesized the data, and they were actually super surprised because they found that the answer was the exact same all across the board. Given a number between 1 and 10, being that you have 10 being the best possible life and 1 being the worst possible life, the median answer was 5. So regardless of your ability to touch a cell phone, wash your hands in a bucket or with a machine, or to be able to drive to your location or walk far, far away, every single person on average felt like their life could be better and it could be worse. Where there is a lack of purpose, there is a lack of passion. Where there's a lack of passion, there is a lack of drive. And so if you can figure out what your purpose is on a very real and fundamental level, you will be able to skyrocket your results and move forward. Now, my purpose and passion has changed over the years. The things that mattered to me when I was 20 were different than they were when I was 25 and 30 and 35, and as I'm approaching new decades, they change. That's okay. Whatever your purpose and drive is now is what matters the most. So think about that. Think about what your purpose is and might be. And it doesn't have to be something that you decide now or overnight, but you can do it whenever you want. And hopefully today, as you're here focusing and inspiring, you will get some great ideas. Now, I want you to think about what you want. And if you don't know, I want you to trust yourself to ask this question. What do I want? But then really ask, what do I really want? Because sometimes, especially as women, we ask ourselves the question, what should I want? Or what should I do? And we have to stop shoulding all over ourselves, okay? That is no good, none of that. We're gonna rid ourselves of that moving forward. But ask yourself, what do you want? And if you don't know today, it'll come. But put it somewhere where you can focus and inspire. Now, we are gonna shake things up just a bit. As you think about that, we're gonna move into our next section, and my assistant Lexi is gonna come help us. We are going to skip a little bit, but don't worry, okay? I will send you these if you want. Okay, while she's coming up to help me.
I'm already here.
Yes, she's here. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you. Will you grab the bucket? I want to end this section on this quote by Brendan Burchard. The power plant doesn't have energy, it generates it. Okay, do you get that? The power plant doesn't have the energy, it generates it. You are the power plant. So how can you generate the purpose and energy and power that you need to go and make it happen? Okay, now we are going to play a game. And I need some volunteers. Let's start with one. Carrie Grubb. Hi, how are you? I didn't even notice that was you when I said, but I pointed. Will you stand up? Okay, tell her your name.
Carrie Grubb.
And tell them what you do.
I am a doTERRA Wellness advocate and a life coach.
Excellent. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay, this is total game show style. You get to look at the question, I'm going to tell you what it is, and you get to pick A, B, C, or D, okay? Now, the first question is, how many messages, phone, voice, text, email, memos, faxes, papers, meetings do employees get in an average day?
Employees.
Employees, or maybe solo entrepreneurs. Do you think it's A, 157, B, 777, C, 1800, D, 2103?
I'm going to go with C.
Okay, she is going with C. How many of you think it's A? How many of you think it's B? How many of you think it's C? How many of you think it's D? Do you want to stay with C?
I'm going to move over to B. Oh. I was persuaded.
She is swayed. Okay, we're going to B, 777. The answer is C. You were right the first time. But guess what? I give prizes even if you get the wrong answer. So come here.
Even if I'm persuaded?
Yes. Okay, so you get this. Caramel apple scotch mallows. Okay, out at C's right now. This is one of those things I've tasted that thin people have not. Okay? All right, and wait, you get one more thing. You also get my Marketing Mastery CD and paper. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, next volunteer. I'll come back. Yes. Okay, stand up. You are?
Debbie Williams.
And what do you do?
I own Timeless Medical Spa and Weight Loss Clinic.
Do you eat caramel apple scotch mallows? Okay, we'll have this conversation later. She hesitated. That's a no, okay? But that's okay because you can still answer this question. What is the number one reason couples split or divorce or break up? A, the spouse doesn't validate opinions or feelings enough. B, too much nagging and complaining. C, money. D, communication issues and an inability to resolve conflict.
Well, often they say money, but I think I'm going to go with A.
Okay, she's going to go with A. How many of you think it's A? How many of you think it's B? How many of you think it's C? How many of you think it's D? Okay, what are you going with?
A.
She's firm, see? Because she doesn't eat things. Okay, so she's going with A. The answer is D. But guess what? All of those things are part of D.
Yeah.
So you still get a prize. Okay, bring the prize bucket. Okay, so I am going to give you something, okay? I knew one day someone was going to need this. Hashtag regifting. Okay, somebody said to me, Michelle, you need this. Okay, it's called My Fitness Trainer, Work at Office. Okay, I'm totally regifting it. But I want people to say to me, Michelle, you need a donut. And they gave me this thing. But, okay, I'm also giving you caramel apple scotch mallows because you're going to want to give them a whirl. And I'm also going to give you How to Get Noticed by Local and National Media, one of my CDs, okay? So I'm regifting one thing, but the rest of those are brand new. I didn't touch them. Okay. next question. I'm feeling a vibe over here. Okay, you can stand up with the blue scarf. Tell me your name. I'm hurrying over there.
I'm gonna wait because it's long.
Okay, Lexi, come close. Okay, I want you to come real close. Okay. Oh, she's true. It's true.
Karish May.
Karish May, that's wonderful. What do you do?
I am an assistant supervisor, management for Esurance, an online insurance company.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so your question is, what is the probability that you will complete a goal if you are accountable to someone? Okay, is it A, 65%, B, 10%, C, 95%, or D, 40%?
C, 95%.
Okay, she is going with C. How many of you think it's A? How many of you think it's B? How many of you think it's C? How many of you think it's D? Is C your final answer?
It is my final answer.
The answer is A. Now listen. Okay, so it's 65% if you commit to someone else that you'll do it. Like if I go online to the Facebook and tell people I'm running a half marathon, my chances went up 65%, okay? But they go up to 95% if you have a specific accountability appointment with the person you have committed to. So you are on the right track. Now, I'm gonna give you those caramel apple scotch mallows, okay? If you wanna try them, that lady over there might not eat hers. She might let you try one before you open it up. Okay, and then I am also going to give you this wonderful book, okay? The Power of Storytelling by my friend Ty Bennett.
Thank
You enjoy that.
I will.
Okay, I need one more. Oh, she was so sure. Okay, Tina. Okay, Tina, this is the last and final question.
Okay.
The question is, suspense.
Say
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, the question is, what percentage of people in the United States are trained in conversational enrollment? Is it A, 38%, B, 3%, C, 12%, or D, 45%?
I feel like an idiot because I don't know what conversational enrollment is.
Say that again.
I feel like an idiot because I don't know what conversational enrollment is.
Well, maybe that'll help you with your answer. Okay. So, do you think it's A, B, C, or D?
I'm going to go with B.
Okay. How many of you think it's A? How many of you think it's B? How many of you think it's C? How many of you think it's D? Okay, are you ready? I got to go a little bit closer because last time it did not work. And we're all just super suspensed. I don't know. That's just, I have absolutely no idea. Okay, so there's no answer to that one. And because you let me poke fun of you, you also get caramel apple scotch mallows. You're welcome. And I'm giving you a VIP pack that includes my Make It Happen Accelerator program that starts next month and the marketing workshop that happens in December.
Thank you.
Yes, so you get that. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so she asks a great question. What is conversational enrollment? It's something that I made up. I don't think that you're going to hear about it anywhere else. Okay, so I'm super excited to share it with you because then we're going to up those percentages and one day I'm going to be able to say 3%. It's going to be real great. Okay, so I think sometimes in our conversations and in our experiences, we have some of these. We go into a conversation with a spouse, with a boss, with a friend, with an employee, and we leave going, that's not exactly how I thought it was going to go in my mind. So I had this struggle and challenge because one of the things that I realized about being a peak performer and about wanting to make things happen is that everything I wanted required someone else. Everything that I needed to really take me to the highest level either needed a great cheerleader or a boss who could help me or an employee who could help me make it happen. And so as I started to get people, I'm like, come on, I'm doing awesome things. Why aren't people just showing up and saying, Michelle, how can I help you? Why isn't my husband saying, Michelle, how can I help you? Instead, I'm going, don't you know I have big things going on? And then it just doesn't really work. And so I started to figure out that there had to be a process to communicate what mattered to me so that I could have my relationships help me go and make it happen. So conversational enrollment is the tool that I use and that I created. And it is a 4-step process for people who want more support from their spouse, want more success in their businesses, want more life and happiness in the things that they're doing. And it's a 4-step process. Now, I put a semi-scientific, not at all, definition up on the board. The enrollment is a conversation where you share your vision with another person, you can discuss the desired outcome, and then after the discussion, you agree on a desired course of action. Lots of words to say, hey, you go into a conversation with what you want, knowing that in the end you might leave with what you want or something better. That at the end, after having that person give you the support that they need, it might not look exactly like you thought, but in the end you'll agree that it's right. So we're going to go through this 4-step process. The first step is the idea. Now, some of you are madly writing this down. I gave you a copy of this in the little sleeve paper. You are welcome to continue to madly write notes, but I thought that I would give this to you as a gift because you will probably look at this a number of times over the course of the next little bit. Super great. Oh, you are welcome. Okay, so the first step is the dream. What do you want? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want a promotion at work? Do you want an assistant to help you with a big project? Whatever it is, what is the quick thing that you want? And you state that. You don't go into all the details. You just say, you know what? I really want to succeed at my job and I want to hit my sales quota. It's a conversation you're going to have with your boss. And so you sit down with them and you say, this is what I want. Now the second step is important, the commitment, a statement of commitment. Now it goes beyond that there's something that it's thought about for a really long time. It's where you're saying to them, I'm committed to the success and I'm going to make it happen. Because in the past, you might not have always been committed. You might have waffled, you might have wavered. And so you need to show them that you are that committed. The third part is the actual plan. Tell them the details. How are you going to make it work? What are you committed to doing? What's the training schedule? What's the outline? The last part is my favorite, and that is the question of support. Can you support me in this? Under what circumstances can you support me is my very favorite question. Because in that moment, I find it's a give and take. If I want something, I know they want something too. And I can talk to them, talk it through to find the right solution for us. So this quick 4-step process works. It works on your kids when you're going somewhere and they're like, Mom, why are you leaving again? It works with your spouse and to try to get the support you need. It works professionally. Give it a try. Take it out for a spin. Let me know how it works for you. Now, there's one last principle that I'm going to share with you that I promised. I'd love for you to take a minute and tell me your favorite thing on the blue form. There's also other ways that you and I can connect if you'd like to do that. So just make sure you fill that out and bring it to me. I have a vendor table outside the hall there, but I would love to have you share some of your thoughts and feelings that you had today. But I want to share with you this final principle. So when I was 7, I remember one night playing in my room undetected because it was past my bedtime and I wasn't about to go tell my parents to come and put me to bed. I was going to milk that for as long as I possibly could. And about an hour after my stated bedtime, my mom came in and instead of putting me to bed, she handed me a plastic sack and she said, pack whatever you can. I don't know when we're coming back. And so I did what any 7-year-old would do. I packed like 10 pairs of underpants and 1 shirt. And then I also packed all the money to my name, which was like 52 cents, and my brand new My Little Pony twins that I had just gotten for my birthday. And we left. We passed my dad on the stairs, and that was the beginning to me of my parents' divorce. Now, in hindsight as an adult, I think to myself, why didn't I say to my mom, could I have a different bag? My grandfather was a travel agent, and we had Pan Am overnight bags in abundance in our house. But I can imagine that my mom, in the midst of her own trial, was just thinking, get it done. So a plastic bag it was. Now, I think about this experience a fair amount because I share it as I travel and speak. And I share it to my clients who are struggling with whatever challenges are going on in their lives. This was just the beginning for me, my first baggage. And now if you were to see, I have baggage on every arm and limb. It hangs around my neck. And that's just a part of the life that we live. And I imagine if I were to pass around the microphone, each one of you, we could one-up each other with crazy stories about the things that happen within the walls of our own home and that we've experienced in our lives. The reality is that baggage isn't going to go away. So the plastic bag principle is the reminder that each of us has it, and if we can figure out how to still thrive and survive with it, that's when our success goes to brand new levels. The plastic bag principle reminds us that while we might feel weighed down, everyone around us does too. How can we lift other people to find happiness and success? My mom, despite her challenges, was the woman who told me over and over again that happiness would help me thrive. She told me that happiness would help me get over hard times, and she was right. That happiness is the one thing I can control. My attitude matters. So the plastic bag principle reminds me every day that my greatest success to make it happen happens in my ability to survive the things that are thrown at me and to survive them with grace. We've all heard of the pessimist that looks on the bad side and the realist who sees things as they really are and the optimist who looks on the bright side. And as an adult, that became harder and harder just to look on the bright side. The challenges became harder, the baggage became heavier, and it became harder to just go on happiness. And so I wondered if my mom was wrong. But then I realized, as I watched her and really dissected what she was talking about, that happiness exists only if you're actually the happiest. It's not enough to look on the bright side, you have to be the bright side. And that my mom survived some hard, difficult times because she wasn't worrying about herself, she was finding someone else's baggage to carry. And so as we remember that our attitude matters, so does theirs. And in the book, I talk about how important it is to be people-centric and to realize that everyone's struggling with their own things, that we can have so much more joy in this life, and we can have so much more success if we figure out how to lift someone else and they can lift us as well. And so as you think about this principle, I want to close by telling you a little bit about my father, who, as I told you, he went back to China and he passed away of SARS. It was the SARS epidemic that happened in 2003, and he was the first American on record to pass away of the disease. And as a result of that, we became somewhat of a media spectacle. My claim to fame is that I have been on the Today Show and Good Morning America and all the local channels and the Harvard Crimson, where my father went to school, all to talk about my dad and how this disease affected our family. But my favorite thing that happened with a local reporter named Tad Welch, who still works at the Deseret News, and he came and did a follow-up story on my dad at the memorial service. The next day, the front page of the paper said, "Or a man remembered as lovably quixotic." Now, I had to look up quixotic in the dictionary. Quixotic means exceedingly idealistic, and that described my father to a T. He felt like he could change the world, or if not, just change his world. I literally watched him give the shirt off of his back once to someone who needed it. And so from my parents, I have a great foundation of really understanding what living a make-it-happen life is. And that while as we leave these doors today, you get the choice about the things that you apply and put into your life. You get to choose the ways and areas that you're going to find your purpose, the way that you're going to powerfully proclaim it with enrollment, and the way that you're going to utilize the plastic bag principle to let that baggage help you thrive and not just weigh you down. And that we need more lovably quixotic people. We need more people who believe that their dreams matter, that other people's dreams matter, and that are willing to go out and do it. And you get that choice every single day with every step and every breath you take, as you get to choose to make it happen.
Up here. We do have a gift for you. If I can find it. Here it is. We have this fun plant with for you.
Thank you.
We love you.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Let's give her another hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.